Hey guys, Kevin here. Let me know if you can hear me in the comments. I got my mic right here, just out of sight, and I can hear myself okay, but I don't know if you can hear me or not. I always get nervous until I see the first comment. I see we've got a couple people here. I see we have 6 people in that are watching, and I see 2 people have commented, Nathan McFarland and Steve Klein. I have no way of knowing really if you're here or not unless you say something in the comments, so I would love that. So anyway, in the meantime, I hope you guys have had a wonderful new year, and I know mine's been kind of different. It's in a good way. So I had some family in town over Christmas and New Year's and Thanksgiving, so it's time to get kind of back to normal a little bit, which is good. So anyway, so what I thought I would do today. Hey Dave, how you doing? The links in my email didn't work this morning. Okay, I'll have to check that later. I'm in the process of changing some stuff with my email and membership and all that kind of stuff. So thanks for the heads up. I appreciate it. I hope you're staying busy. I would love to chat with you about what you're up to sometime soon. I don't know, maybe this afternoon or maybe online. So anyway, I don't have a huge agenda today. I just wanted to kind of get my feet wet again. It's been a while since I've done a live thing, and I enjoy doing it. It's just that sometimes I don't feel like I have a lot to bring. But I feel especially motivated. I'm on a new eating plan. I'm a carnivore right now, and it's amazing. I feel a lot better today and yesterday. So yeah. So let's see. Adam, the MixCoach, thank you. It's just because I got the website. You can buy the name MixCoach. Let's see. Steve says he hears me fine. Let's see. Dave Stagel says he can see me. And Angel, good to see you, man. Oh, Adam Knight. I got you mixed up with another Adam I know. Thanks for coming, man. I look forward to getting in the studio with you sometime soon. But anyway, hey, so what I thought I would do today is show you a little bit about what I've got going on with the MixCoach member. The doors have been closed for a while because I've been kind of rebuilding the membership thing, but I've got it to a point where there's tons of content. There's tons of tutorials, every range of music you can think of, everything from country to kind of classical with strings. I've got jazz, I've got rock, I've got some blues, I've got just about anything you'd want in there. So if you want to be a well-rounded mixing engineer, then MixCoach member is definitely the place to go. Tons of stuff, new stuff every month. Well, new tutorials every month. There are tutorials every month. This month we happen to be going back to an old tutorial that we did a long time ago, or another mix. There's a new tutorial coming, but I'm going to show you the kind of my tutorial that was done a couple of years ago. This is a really cool song. We've done several songs of his. Let's see. It's called "You Won't Be Staying This Time." And it's by he was young then. He was a child prodigy on guitar. He's playing guitar on all this. And he's also singing, and he also wrote it. We did it in my studio before I left for California. And I hadn't heard it in years. And I brought it back up, and I was like, wow, this is probably the best song that we did of his. We've got 3 of them. So if you like this tutorial, and you want to do more like this or learn more like this, I'm just going to show a few excerpts today from this tutorial, but it's called "You Won't Be Staying This Time" by Ben Parker. Ben Parker's from Alabama, and so I thought I'd show a little bit of it. Hopefully I've got it queued up into a place that won't be too awkward. But so what I thought I would do is just play this, and then I'll be in the comments. So if you hear anything that you like, or you want to hear more of, please let me know in the comments section. I'll jot it down, and when I do my next tutorial on this song, I'll be sure that I either go more in depth with whatever you want on this, okay? So without further ado, let's see. Oh, a few more people showed up. Michael Rafter's making fun of my hair. My wife said, why do you wear a hat all the time? And I'm like, this is why. I didn't really say that, but this is why. What's up, Tassie? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play the little bit of this, and I may stop it in just a few minutes. But like I said, if you guys want me to, like, if you've got any questions that I can answer after, I'd be glad to do that, and also cover something more in depth a little later. Okay. All right. So here we go. I'll be in the comments chatting with you. Okay. Tell you first of all that I have already imported my settings as best I could. This is actually my laptop that I'm mixing on, and these settings are set up for my studio computer. So I had to change a few things, but I wanted to tell you about this template here. Some of you who have seen me do mixes before know that I'll usually go and create the template as I go, and then I'll tell you that I'll save a lot of time by importing my template. Well, this is my template, and I thought I would just go ahead and explain a little bit to you. If you look over here to the left, you can see that I've got 4 master faders, one of which is the one we're looking at. I've got the other ones hidden because we're not going to be doing split tracks or TV tracks or instrumental tracks on this demonstration. But I've got it set up already. I've also got a way to print the song as I finish it. And if you can see, it's getting the mix bus. You may want to take a look at my I/O settings. I have been kind of working with this a little while. Yeah, these HP, that's all left over from my other setup. But you can see that I've got a lot of these things named, and they didn't really translate that well, but because I don't have the same interface, so the interface up here is all different. So anyway, that's I've got it set up, and I've got a way that I can just import this stuff, be ready to print 4 mixes in one pass. I don't have all the same plugins installed on this one, but for now I've got a limiter just on the 2 mix, just for safety purposes. And if I do anything to it, you guys will be a witness to that. If you'll notice that I've got the mix going to output 3 and 4. I don't have an output 3 and 4 on this particular mixing setup, so just disregard that for now. We'll probably hide that. So anyway, yeah, what I've got is I've got the band, I've got, feeding into the band, I've got strings, the smack track, the drums, the instrumental, that all feeds into the band. And then into the vocal track, which are my 2 main ones, band and vocal, I've got background vocals, stacks, lead, and maybe, yeah, the vocal verb on that. Also, these 2 verbs here feeding into the band. So basically, I'm routing everything submixed down through 2 faders, this one and this one. And those 2 faders are feeding the mix bus, and that's what's happening here. So in a nutshell, that's what that is. Now you're going to see me, this mix I am starting from scratch. If you see, there's nothing over here. So so my plan is by 7:15 I'm going to be printing a mix. So hang on for the ride. Should be fun. I should learn a lot from having to do it this way. I will say one thing. I started to do this tutorial yesterday, and then I talked myself out of it. And then I started to do it this morning. I got up at 5 to do it this morning, and I have been just kind of piddling around and not doing it. I find that the best way, and I find that's how most musicians and creative people are put together. We keep putting stuff off. We want it to be perfect and want the perfect scenario, and it really affects production. So here's what I'm doing. I'm just doing it, and what comes out in an hour will be in an hour, and we'll just have to go from there. The best way to get stuff done when you're mixing is just to set a deadline for yourself, and my deadline is 7:15. Okay, so let's get going.
Yeah, it's been a while. You should call sometime, maybe come over.
Looking for a good healthy level here. Remember, this is not doing anything right now. so I'm just kind of getting everything healthy level here. I pulled the background vocals down, or the vocal bus down. It was at over 0, and anytime you do that, if you have a limiter on it, it's useless because you're not catching the peaks like it is. I mean, it's not useless, but for the purpose that I'm using it here, it's useless because you want it to stop at minus 0.1, and then you put it over 1 dB, then it's going to peak at minus 0.9 dB. So so I'm just trying to, basic, simple gain staging is what I'm doing here. I'm making sure that nothing here is crazy hot. I'm not using this right now. So, and yeah, so we're all looking pretty healthy as far as gain staging goes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in something that will mono it for me. So let's do this. S1 Imager is kind of my go-to for this. And what I'm going to do is kind of pull this width all the way down. So now when this is active, and let's put the limiter last thing in the line. And when it's active, it'll be mono. So we're going to listen in mono some of the time. I'm going to take it apart now that I've got kind of a rough blend, and let's just get started. Couldn't find it. If you notice the guitar, you didn't even notice anything until I run it up to 200. So this is a good way to check your filter on your guitar. If you've got a guitar playing and you're scared to filter and you only go down to here, you're really not doing much work. What we want to do is we're cleaning up the low end, because acoustic guitars, electric guitars are notorious for having energy way down low that really makes things muddy more than anything. Now, some people they find their value in how much they EQ things. I think the bass sounds great. I'm not going to touch it right now. I'm just going to do some filters of things that I know need filtering. Okay, here's a good little tip. Now, I'm overwhelmed with guitars because there's 4 good passes of guitars. I'm going to mute the electrics and see if the acoustics shine through that the way they should. They were a little loud, so now by the same token, I'm going to mute those. Here's a good example too. On the headphones I'm listening on, which are Grado RS2s, there's really nothing below 120 that's I'm using. Like when he raked the piano a while ago, nothing really went away when he raked the piano that I can tell around 120. So there's a look at all that energy, all that space you saved. It's like saving money, I guess. Look at all that money you saved right there in the low end by filtering the piano because you're not using it anyway. And there's stuff down there like, I don't know, air conditioner noise if it's live piano, or if it's sampled piano, there may be some junk down there too. And if you can't hear it, why is it in the mix? Because if you can't hear it, it's really just affecting the low end. So the goal here is to filter most everything below what is audible in an instrument. So let's listen to the piano just a little bit more, and we'll confirm that 120 is okay on this. Yep. Okay, so now it seems like I haven't done anything to the piano so far. Now I'm kind of putting myself out there and see if we did. I've got just a little compression on it, 3 dB or less. I don't know if it's anywhere from, it's less than 5 or less than 6 dB if this light's not coming on, more than likely, right? Because this is not a very high resolution thing. So one light is 5 dB, which I really wouldn't want to do much more than that on a piano for this kind of song. So let's listen to this, and I may brighten up the piano just a little bit and see if we're and then we'll bypass this and see if we've made any difference. Let's see how it sits in the track now. Okay, cool. Now I want to go work on the drums a little bit. I haven't done anything to the drums, so let's listen. They're recorded well, so I shouldn't think that I have to do anything to the drums, but I may, just stiffen them up a little bit with some limiting and compression. Okay, let's take a look at the phase of the over and under snare mics. Let's see. Kind of hard to get around on this little laptop. Okay, it looks like it's recorded pretty hot, or he's just very consistent. It's like there was probably a limiter on it or something like that. But it sounds good, so it is good. Yeah, there's a little bit of a chop on the top there. Okay, so I'm looking at phase. I'm looking at phase of the top and bottom snare. I think that they're in phase. The only thing there may be different is that they may be out of time alignment. Yeah. See, it looks like they are out of phase a little bit. It looks like this one heads up to begin with, and this one heads down to begin with. When you put a mic over a snare and you hit it, the top is going to have a different phase than the bottom. So what I'm going to do right here is just, let's make sure that delay compensation is on. If you can do that on this, yeah, you can do that on this version of my computer. So, you know what? Let's do this. Just to try it first, I'm going to do EQ, and then I'm going to do like EQ1, just so I can flip the phase of it. Okay, and let's go ahead and do this. Since we know the starting points are different, I'm going to go ahead and align the starting points to this. I'm going to do that by, let's zoom out. I'm going to clean these up just a little bit on the intro. That way we'll have room to nudge if we need to. Okay, so let's zoom back in. And let's see, blow it up a little bit so we can really see the. I'm going to put my middle finger on this file here, right there, right at there where it starts, and then I'm just going to look for the red line at the very top, and I'm going to move it over until it lines up. And if you can see, it is a little out of phase. So let me do one other thing. I'm going to nudge it by one sample. I don't know if I can do that on this because I don't have the keyboard. Some of the keyboard shortcuts. So you see, I'm looking. I'm going peak to peak here. Let's go ahead and create a playlist on this one, just in case we ever wanted to come back. So now I've got that one. I'm gonna go back to the old playlist so that there's no question about it. Okay, now I'm just gonna grab that whole. Well, first of all, let's see which one of these is in phase with the overheads. So let's see. So if we looked at I'm going to drag the overheads to the top so we can see. And then I'm going to look at the top snare and see that it looks like the top overhead goes down first and this goes down first. So just for now, let's take this snare bottom and let's flip the phase of it. I'm just going to go into Audio Suite because I know if I was mixing 10 songs just like this, I would probably do it in a plug-in format so I wouldn't have to do this on every song and risk forgetting. Invert. Okay, so now we've got the snares are. If we were to go back and just listen to the difference in these snares by changing playlists, let's do that. Not a huge difference, but I don't have a whole lot of that bottom snare in there. I typically don't like using those too much, but it does add a nice bit of top end to the snare. Okay, so let's move this overhead back down where it goes. Okay, you know what? Let's gate this bottom guy here. Let's just grab a gate. I haven't done this before. You're seeing me create this stuff as I go. So let's go to Dynamics 3 and just gate. Now what I typically like to do on this, if I'm starting from the very beginning, is go to the extremes. Attack will be release will be very short. The hold will be very short, and I'm just going to mess with the threshold here. Okay, one of the things I'm going to do too is listen to the side chain, and let's get all the low end out of it, since the low end is kind of what's triggering it open when the kick hits. Now this is not what it's going to sound like, but that's what's going to be triggering it. So let's turn this back off. Now, all that rattling and distortion you're hearing is because the hold and release times are. Let's tighten those. This loosen those up just a little bit. Okay, so now we've got that snare drum. Let's see how it sounds gated in there. You know what? I just don't like the way under the snare sounds. That's just me. I'm just going to hide and make it inactive, and I'm going to go with the top snare only. It just sounds, especially after you listen to it for a minute, it just sounds funny to me. After all that work. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do, and this is one thing I recommend for everybody to do, and I do it only when I think of it. I'm just going to tab to transient, this snare, I'm going to hold shift, and I'm just going to grab to the next snare. So now I've got a loop. If this is on here, the loop playback, and you do that by right-clicking it, and you can set it to loop. I've got one little cycle of drums, so now I can really concentrate on kick and snare. I'm just kind of trimming it back a little bit so that I'm not hitting my compressor so hard. I see this is one of the ways I've noticed that Crystal Algae mixes, and probably his brother Tom, is that they'll set their compressors up the same way every time, and they'll run something through a compressor based on how it sounds. But so they never change the input-output ratio, attack or release on it, or according to what I've read, they never do. So how do they control how much it compresses? They control it with a trim. They don't do it with a trim plug-in as much as they do probably the trim on the SSL console, because if you think about it, an LA2A or 1176 or 33609 is harder to recall when just by double clicking and having your assistant to recall an SSL console. A lot easier to recall trim, not easy to recall 1176s as much, especially the old ones where the knobs may be a little finicky and things. So anyway, so we're controlling how hard this hits the compressor with a gain or a trim plug-in. So anyway, just a little side note there. Okay, let's go back to the little trying to get the drums dialed in. Instead of just going to adding high end to this, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to clean up the low mids so that so I don't have to add as much top end to it. Okay, let's add a little bit of that bite to it. Okay, so muted the instrument so I could just concentrate on the drums here. Okay, so running out of time. I need to kind of step it up a little bit here. The drums overall sound really good. I am going to clean up a little bit though. Now, if you notice that the toms are sitting there ringing, and that's cool. But for a song you've got a lot of stuff in, I mean, why not clean up the low end just a little bit? I'm going to go to my go-to on the toms. The R channel is really cool. If you don't have it, there's probably other plugins that are like it, but I kind of know this one pretty well. So what I'm going to do is go and find a place where the tom is actually playing. Which that's a good place right there. Okay, so I'm just going to loop it. And now I'm going to listen to the sidechain here. Turn this to gate, and I'm going to listen to the input for the gate. First of all, let's do this. Let me find that fundamental frequency of that tom. Okay, 113 is typically in this. I'm just going to turn this to 113, and I'm going to turn that on to where it is, the sidechain is triggering, and I'm going to narrow it as much as I can. And I'm going to do EQ and then compressor. So when I add this fundamental frequency, it is actually only going to add to the effect that this is listening for that one channel. So let's EQ the tom, and then we'll gate it. Actually, don't think it needs a lot of low end, but we did that to find where this bump should be. So let's turn this on now and get this thing in this section not to open, and on this section open and then close politely. Okay, we're still listening to the Okay, I'm going to turn the floor up because I don't necessarily want to nuke the toms. I just want to minimize the that's happening underneath the song as he hits the kick drum and the toms are ringing. So that sounds natural. That just sounds like a better mic'd tom where you can still hear stuff in the background, but it's not distracting, So let's listen to this one more time. Okay, so now pretty much got that tom set up. I'm just going to drag this down to this channel and tweak where the fundamental frequency is. Let's turn off this EQ here and turn off this EQ here and see if we need to. Wow. Let me undo everything I just did because I'm on the wrong channel. Nothing uncommon. I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. Okay, let's go to this channel and let's tweak it. That's why there's no, that's why I couldn't hear anything going on here. Okay, so kind of normalize it just a little bit, and then let's make sure all right, I just want to make sure I left that channel the way it should be. Okay, so 89. Okay, so let's make sure that now that we've got it opening, let's make sure that we've got the gate tight enough. Fine line between not opening and seems like that'll probably do right there. I'm gonna pull this threshold down just a little bit more. Every little bit counts here. Okay, drag it down and to the floor channel. Sometimes I don't play the there we go. I bet I could do an impersonation of that Tom too. Hey, so we're about halfway through the video. I don't want to bore you guys with all that stuff, but if you are interested in mixing and seeing tutorials like this all the time, I would love to have you. And a lot of the people commenting on the side here are members of MixCoach, and a lot of them have got their mixes ready to go. Every month we listen to the mixes. Toward the end of the month, we'll listen to it. I give feedback. You get feedback from all the other great mixers in the community. And we just love to have some more mixers in here, more opinions, more mixes, more people. We learn from each other. So yeah. So in this video, I was just taking notes here. We learned about setting a deadline on a mix is a healthy thing to do, and we tend to be, as creative people, we tend to be kind of procrastinators. I know I'm terrible at it, but when I set a deadline for myself, I usually do better. We talked about some simple gain staging. We talked about how to use acoustic or high pass filter on acoustic. We talked about don't value yourself as a mixer based on how many plugins that you use. Sometimes it takes a lot of plugins, but sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes that's just a confidence thing that's shining through when you have a stack of plugins that don't help a lot. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Being a seasoned mixer is knowing the difference between them, though. I showed you about the SSL Instant Awesome preset that I had. And then we talked about the low pass, going back to the low pass thing. We talked about doing leaving money or moving money around, which is frequencies. Like if don't waste that low end on your acoustic guitar when that's not what the acoustic guitar is supposed to do. It has it built in. So use a filter to kind of clean that up and make it a little bit cleaner, and spend that money somewhere else, like on the kick drum or the bass or one of the toms. We talked about a ton of other stuff. We talked about we EQ'd the piano. We talked about phase on the snare drum. I thought that was kind of cool. And it makes a big difference if you use an under snare drum. I typically don't, unless it just sounds like unless it sounds like a tom that somebody's playing and it has no of that scratch that a snare drum has, then I'll do it. But you can actually trigger that with white noise or pink noise. I've heard people do that before. And then we talked about cleaning up the toms. That was here at the very end. So I'm going to go back to the comments real quick. Thank you guys for participating. And some of the comments you were talking about were funny. And I impersonated a tom on the video. So I hope you enjoyed all that. Eric, I'm glad you came, man. I'm not sure that you have been here before. If you haven't, it's nice to meet you. Thanks for coming. And love to have you back some other time. Maybe on the inside of the membership site. Maybe the next time we do this live. So I kind of like doing this. I've got hundreds of videos that I could show like this that have some pretty good stuff spaced out in it. And like I said, if you want to really jumpstart your mixing, go to MixCoachMember.com. The link is in the description, and also it's in the description of the video. But it's MixCoachMember.com. All the information that you need to know is on there. The doors are open right now to MixCoach Member. We don't leave them open all the time. It's kind of like, we open the doors occasionally. That's the way it's been. So anyway, if you'd like to join us, click that link, find out a little bit more about it. Eric. Thank you, Eric. He said I do a good job. I appreciate it. I would love to get to know you a little bit more. Let me know if I can do anything to help. Okay. Well, guys, I think I will leave it there, and I maybe I'll show part 2 soon. Let me know in the comments or in the live chat or in the comments if you like this sort of thing. If you did like it, maybe you can help me share it, and maybe when I do it next time, maybe I'll pick it up from here. Let's see. I don't know where we were. We're about 33 minutes in, but it's about an hour, a little over an hour long video. So anyway, you're welcome, Tony. Thank you for coming, man. I look forward to connecting with you soon. Hey, by the way, if holler at me on the new community section. I'm really wanting to, I don't know if you knew this or not, but you can actually talk to anybody you want to in the community, I think, as far as I know. It's kind of a new version of the community that we have within MixCoach Member, guys. But reach out to me there, and maybe we can do a video chat, just an impromptu video chat. I won't take up much of your time. But anyway, MixCoach Member is where it's at. Would love to have you there. Let me know if I can be of any help, and I will see you guys very soon, okay? Bye.